Hello Dragoborne fans and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 cards in my opinion from Gears of Apocalypse, or the cards that I'm the most excited to brew with. Now some of these are going to be they're really good cards and they're just must build cards or cards to consider for this next set. But at least I hope I make a good case for each one of them and talking about exactly why, the pros and cons for each of them. So I want to start with Against All Odds. This is a card that I've been very excited for because I, of course, have been playing the green, yellow, red, or kind of this Naya mid-range deck, and this is pretty much everything that we've wanted in an ambush. Previously, we had the Righteous End, which was okay for what it did. It either was really, really good early game or kind of teetered off as it went on, and this is a card that I first want to acknowledge that it replaces itself, so that is huge and probably the main selling point for me. But being able to just choose 2 opposing creatures and it doesn't have to be from the same lane, that is a heaven send for me. I think this card is absolutely worth playing in your light banner based decks because of how strong the effect is. Now, will this also help other decks that have been struggling, like maybe say a red, blue, yellow that has just not seen play anywhere? Will that bring it up to speed and make it competitive and maybe have to rely less on green, not so much Remus and those kind of ramp strategies? Who knows, but I think this again is worth mentioning for what it does in so many decks of being just the ambush you always want to see. And of course, deck thinning is also good in that respect, that it's going to pull the other card out of your deck and give you that same effect that you want. So it's absolutely worth mentioning here. The other one I want to acknowledge is the elf deck from a high level. So I'm featuring this one just because when it's summoned, you get to reveal the top 2 cards and summon a 4 or less elf from them, which is basically every elf you're playing in the deck anyways. So it's a 4-cost body that's bringing something else with it. It's not that hard. And then it's going to keep coming back. So this is a card that can constantly apply pressure on your opponent. It's going to keep coming back. It's going to bring back more elves with it when it dies. And it really is just the main resource engine for that deck. Now, it's going to be one of those cards that it's going to also play itself, which is really nice. It doesn't say other, so you can kind of live the dream and just keep summoning them, but it's not always going to be the card that you're going to want to see, of course. But again, the elf deck is really great at swarming and then just kind of teeters off. So I really could have picked either this card or the other elf that says when your other elves are destroyed, draw a card, because it's really good against raid and those types of cards. But I think she deserves a spot, and well, it's Steve Argyle, so I love the artwork and I had to at least mention it here. Moving on from there, we have the Menacing Manticore, which is an interesting pick, and this is one of the ones that I probably need to stop and comment on. I could have easily picked one of the other blue Dolars, which is very much what blue itself needed from just an element perspective and making sure that these colors are fairly balanced and whatnot, but the 2 cards I picked from blue are just so much more important in what they do and solidifying, in my opinion, getting these blue decks into the meta and make it worth playing. So Menacing Manticore, when it attacks, you may choose one of your creatures. So any of your creatures, and there's quite a few that have kind of on hit, on death, whatever effects that make it worth it, and those creatures will fight, or they'll deal damage to each other as though they were in battle. So anything with deadly, anything with those type of effects, again, are going to work with this card. Now, it is a little underwhelming, it only being a 2/2 for 4, but it helps you put yourself in a position where now you have these maybe other bigger bodies. Maybe you are now doing a, say, blue, yellow, green deck where you have those bigger creatures like Remus and stuff that can just take a beating and are still going to be doing like breaking a shield, drawing you a card, and then fighting something else. So it's just another way to get a little bit more value out of your bigger creatures, and I think is going to do a lot for pushing these blue decks forward. And then we have the Jailer, which was worth mentioning as well, the Sphinx. There's so many cards, and even when we just talked about in this video, that highlight playing cards from outside of your hand. We have Hrist, we have the Elves package that does it, we have the last card that we're going to mention here in a second that's going to do it, and it turns off every single one of those cards. So in a meta where we're focusing so much on playing effects for free or getting effects to your hand otherwise and then putting them into play off different effects, I think this card is worth playing. It's not, don't sleep on it. It's one of those cards that if you're playing blue, it's absolutely a sideboard card. Consider making the argument for having this main deck. It is just that good in the decks that we are seeing very early on. And of course, we don't have the results from this most recent regional, but at least at the regional that I was at, it was again all elves. Hrist was making an appearance, so there's a ton of effects that this would have stopped. The last card that I have is the Ancient Ruler, and this was my MVP for the regional. She was an absolute devastating force to be reckoned with, and it's so important to acknowledge that it does summon the card. So if you have Fafnir, Azarko, any of those on-summon effects work with this card. It is absolutely insane, and hopefully Bushiroad does upload the finals match from the regional, where I think my key hits were a Sig run to completely shut off my opponent from attacking on the next turn, and I did hit Fafnir at one point, which was irrelevant based on the board state, but it still cleared a shield and did some damage to one of their creatures that helped win me ultimately the game. I mean, it was another attacker and removed a shield at the end of the day, so it was worth 2 attacks based on this card. So another one of those things I hated to show. You know, I try not to focus too much on rarity. That's why the blue ones kind of get the pick here, but a lot of double Rs that are really good in this next set are really things that we should consider building or building with in these next few regionals that we're going to be going on until the 4th set comes out. And then, of course, we'll have the regionals. We'll be qualifying for nationals, going to worlds, all that great stuff, and whatever else the prizing might be. So I really hope you guys are excited for these Springfest regionals that are coming up. Whenever it gets here, I just got the email from Bushiroad saying my regional champion card will be here in a week or two. Unfortunately, unless something happens where I can sell a couple extra cards or my Messiah deck sells, I don't have enough money to go to Toronto. Unfortunately, I would love to go and get to play more Dragoborne, but it looks like I might have to sit that one out. But I'm saving money. I'm going to try to hit every single event until I qualify in the second half of 2018, so I can go to nationals again. Definitely need to fight back after what happened last year and really try to place first at nationals this year, but we'll see what happens. So that is all we have for this video, guys. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, make sure to drop us a like, comment down below what your favorite card from Gears of Apocalypse was, and of course don't forget to subscribe for future Dragoborne content. We really want to do more for this game if we can, and we really do hope again that you guys appreciate the content and getting it out there. And of course, join the Discord, join the North America Dragoborne group. Let's get people talking about this game. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, on behalf of myself and the rest of the Six Sages Gaming crew. Have a good one. This video made possible thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thank you to our honorary sages.